I already won.
You haven't won anything.
I'm in his head.
That's winning. Being in someone's head is not winning. I need a decision. Until he crosses the line, you've done nothing.
I've done everything. You're the one who hasn't shown up yet.
Because you haven't finished your job.
My job takes time.
It's been 3 days.
3 days is not long. 3 days is patience. You rush people and they wake up. I take my time and they drift. Drifting is how I work. Drifting is slow. Drifting is permanent. A man who drifts slowly towards me barely notices the moment he arrives at your door. Fine, but let's be clear about something. The moment he says yes, I'm what matters, not you. I know that. You become irrelevant the second I arrive. I have always known that. I knock, you enter. That's been the arrangement since the garden. I'm not confused about my role. Then stop acting like you've already won when you haven't even finished knocking. I'm not acting. I'm confident. There's a difference. What's his weak point? Loneliness. He feels unseen. He works hard and nobody notices. He's been carrying that quietly for a long time. Good. Use it. I have been using it. I've been whispering that he deserves this, that nobody will know, that this one thing will make the weight feel lighter, that God isn't paying close enough attention to care about something this small. Is it working? It's working, but something keeps interrupting. What do you mean interrupting? A voice. Every time I get him close, something else speaks, something I can't easily argue with. What does it say? Things about who he is, things about grace, things that remind him he isn't alone. Ignore it. You can't ignore a voice like that. That's not how this works. I've been doing this since before you existed, and I'm telling you, that voice is the one thing I cannot simply talk over. Then what do you do when it speaks? I wait. I let the silence settle, and then I go again. And he comes back to the edge? Every time. He keeps coming back. He's tired, and tired people are my most productive work. Then close it. What's the hesitation? The hesitation is that he doesn't fully believe he's already guilty, and guilt is the fastest way to move someone from where they are to where you need them. Explain that. When a person believes they're already guilty, before they've even made a decision, they stop fighting. Why resist if you've already fallen? Why pray if you're already dirty? Shame shuts down resistance faster than any desire ever could. So make him feel guilty. I've been trying, but he knows something that's making it difficult. What does he know? He knows that feeling tempted is not the same as sinning. Someone taught him that, and that one piece of knowledge is costing me more ground than anything else. He knows that? He knows it, but he doesn't fully believe it yet. There's a gap between knowing a truth and living from it. I'm working in that gap right now. What's in that gap? Confusion. He knows the truth, but the feeling is so loud it overrides the knowledge. He feels guilty for being tempted. He thinks the desire arriving means he's already halfway to you, and that confusion is worth more to us than 100 open doors. Why? Because a man who thinks he's already losing stops defending himself, and an undefended man is an easy man. So the confusion between you and me, that's our biggest weapon. Always has been. As long as people believe that the knock on the door is the same as a break-in, they live under guilt they were never meant to carry. And that guilt keeps them away from the one place they could get real help. They hide. They hide, exactly like Adam did. Not after temptation, after sin. But I've convinced an entire generation of believers to hide after temptation before they've even made a choice. That's the most efficient thing I've ever done. But what about the ones who understand the difference? The ones who know that you and me are not the same thing? They're harder, much harder. A believer who understands that being tempted doesn't make them guilty, that person fights differently. They don't collapse at the feeling. They don't run from God when the desire comes. They run towards Him. And the believer running towards God in the middle of temptation is almost impossible to close. Almost. Almost. They're still human. They still have history. And history is one of my best tools. How do you use history? I remind them of every time they've opened your door before. I tell them the pattern is too deep to break, that this is just who they are now, that the falls have defined them more than the standing ever has. Does that work? Sometimes. But the dangerous ones have learned to use their history against me. They look back and they don't only see the falling, they see the grace that came after. They see that the door wasn't closed to them even when they walked through mine. And mercy, real mercy, is very difficult to argue against. So mercy protects them. Mercy combined with identity protects them. A man who knows he's forgiven and knows who he is before God, that man is my hardest assignment. I can work with guilt, I can work with shame, I can work with loneliness and desire and bad history. But settled identity, a person who knows who they are even when the feeling is loud, that is the wall I have never found a way through. Then attack the identity. I try every single time. I tell him the desire proves who he really is underneath the faith, that the temptation is revealing his true self, that the Christian version of him is the performance, and this pull, this want, is the real him. Is he believing it? Not today, not completely. What else are you using? Distance. I make him feel like God is far away, that the silence he senses is God pulling back, not me pushing forward. If he believes God is distant, he stops reaching, and the believer who stops reaching mid-temptation is wide open. Because he stops praying. Because he stops praying, and prayer is the one move I have never found an answer to. Not once. I've been doing this since creation. I have never found a way to counter genuine prayer. The moment someone drops to their knees in the middle of temptation, seriously, genuinely, the atmosphere changes entirely. My voice gets quieter, the other voice gets louder, and I lose the ground I spent days building. So everything depends on keeping him from praying. Everything depends on keeping him in his head and out of his knees, always.
What about running? What if he just leaves? What if he does what Joseph did?
I hate that story.
Why?
Because it removes the negotiation entirely. I work best in conversation. I work best when someone stays close enough to keep engaging. Joseph didn't debate. He didn't try to manage the situation. He didn't tell himself he was strong enough to stay. He ran, left everything behind and ran. And you can't reason with someone who is already moving away from you. The distance itself becomes the answer. So running ends it. Running ends it before it becomes your beginning. That's exactly why I spend so much energy convincing people that running is weakness, that a mature believer should be able to stand at the edge and resist without moving, that staying close and saying no is strength. It isn't. Staying close is exactly where I need them. We've been at this 3 days. Be honest with me. Do we get them? Honestly? Honestly. I don't know. You don't know? You've been doing this since the garden and you don't know? He keeps doing something I can't interrupt. He keeps remembering who he is. Not who he's been, not what he's felt. Who he is. And a man who is anchored in his identity, in who God says he is, that man is the most difficult work I have ever done. Then what do we do from here? We keep knocking. That's all we can do. We knock. We make the knock loud. We make it persistent. We make it sound like the desire is coming from inside him, like it's his nature, not my voice. But we cannot open the door from this side. That has never been in our power. We can't force it. We have never been able to force it. Only he can open the door. That choice has always been his, every single time. That's a terrible design. I've thought so for a very long time. And if he never opens it, then I knocked for 10 days or 10 years and you never arrived. And he walks away from this having been tempted fully and having not sinned, just like the one we could never touch. Don't say his name. I didn't say his name, but you know who I mean. And you know what his example means for every believer who understands it. It means the feeling is survivable. It means the knock does not have to become an entry. It means that you and I are not the same thing. We have never been the same thing. And the day any believer fully grasps that truth and lives from it, we lose the weapon we have used the longest. So knowledge really is that dangerous. The right knowledge in the right hands at the right moment. Yes, it is the most dangerous thing we face. Drop a number in the comments. 1. If you've been carrying guilt for something that was only a temptation, never a sin. 2. If today is the first time the difference became completely clear to you. 3. If someone you know needs to hear this, tag them right now. Next video, we go into the wilderness. 3 temptations, 3 responses, the exact weapons that shut every door. You are not what knocked. You are what you chose to open it to. Stay in the Word.